All right, welcome into DAV Podcast episode number 13, Veteran Employment During COVID-19, the topic of the day. And once again, back here with you, I'm Dan Klaskins, joined by Ashley Burns. And over the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to take you around some of the big issues facing our veterans. And as so many Americans have struggled with employment during the COVID-19 pandemic, veterans have definitely been impacted heavily too. And today we're going to talk about some of the opportunities out there with the entrepreneurial boot camps and such. We have DAV's virtual job fairs to talk about, some great guests for you. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We love new listeners. If you're regulars, we like you too, and certainly really appreciate you. But you can always subscribe and keep up. Just do so at dav.org/podcast and on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you listen. And Ashley, it is always good to hear that the unemployment numbers, just not just in the veteran space, but across America, starting to improve a little bit better from what we saw earlier in 2020, but a lot of work still ahead. And especially for our veteran population, a lot of opportunities out there to discuss here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things I keep trying to drive home with people, especially those who, in a market like this, it may seem daunting to try and find employment if you're out of work, but it's really important that we keep reemphasizing to job seekers, veteran job seekers in particular, that there are people who are hiring and that they're looking to hire veterans specifically. People know that veterans bring a lot to the table. And so your skills and abilities are high in demand. And there's a wealth of opportunities. Come look through some of the opportunities at DAV's virtual job fairs, and I'm sure you'll find something up your alley.
Jobs.dav.org can get you right to all of that. And we have a lot of programs, free programs and services we offer veterans. Our employment program started back in 2014 and really was mostly in-person events, job fairs and such. And now to see all these virtual elements to it is really cool. And it's one of our newer programs, one that's taken off here. We're going to hear from Jeff Hall here in a bit. If you want to check out all of our programs and services, if you're a veteran out there needing some help with your benefits, maybe a ride to your appointment, you can get all of that information at dav.org. And also, if you want to help us help veterans, you can make a gift there. We couldn't do anything we do without the generous support of our donors. And one of those things is this Patriot Boot Camp.
Yeah. So, our employment program is wonderful. It has a limited scope in what we're able to do. But one of the great things about that we can work with local communities to bolster their nonprofit organizations that are serving veterans in the local area. And one of those, as you mentioned, is Patriot Boot Camp. For those not familiar with it, it's a pretty rigorous entrepreneurship program that provides training and mentorship and a community of experts exclusively to military members and veterans and their spouses, all at no cost. So twice per year, a cohort of about 50 tech entrepreneurs are selected to attend these intensive multi-day boot camps. And this year, DAV teamed up with Patriot Boot Camp as a presenting sponsor for their all-virtual event to support military and vet tech entrepreneurs. So our own Matt Saint-Sing had a chance to sit down with Navy veteran Rachel Costello kind of before and after attending this year's all-virtual event to talk about how it went for her.
So can you tell me a little bit about your company? When did it start and what do you guys do?
So our company was founded in 2017, and we initially founded a company to prototype a medical device. So during my career, I had 3 brain tumor operations.
Oh, wow. Not
related to combat, but it was related to, I think, the job I may have doing. So I had 3 brain operations, 2 in Balboa and 1 in at Walter Reed. Bethesda Hospital. And when you have a brain surgery, when you have a head injury of any kind, you have to sleep sitting up for about 2-3 months. So we came up with a device that allowed you to do that. We had a prototype MVP done, and then the Chinese manufacturing shut down pretty much because of all the tariff. So it became unfeasible for us to provide that prototype and get it manufactured and sell it in a decent price. So we pivoted, and we went to what we know best. I teach customer discovery workshop at UC San Diego.
Oh, wow.
So now I offer customer discovery and development workshops, business model canvas deep dive, design thinking, networking for introverts, But specifically government contracting, which a lot of the small startup, especially for veterans, are not familiar with. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me make sure I have this correct. You're in the manufacturing business, or we're going to be in the manufacturing business for this device. And does it something that does it fit over the patient's head, or is it attached to the bed?
It actually looks exactly like a sleeping device that you'll see in airports.
Okay.
Horse collar.
Okay.
Except when you have a head injury, because I actually, I couldn't. Yeah, you cannot wear your standard horse collar. So it basically created a chin rest that you could rest your chin.
Okay.
And there was a shaft attached to it that kind of strapped to the bed. So yeah, we had a prototype and everything because I was actually in the hospital at Walter Reed before I retired from the Navy, and my partner and we cobbled together this device using duct tapes and PVC pipes. And we actually had the guys down in the other ward tested because we had a lot of the combat wounded from where you were back in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. So I actually had those guys tested out. So it was a great device. Yeah, just right now I can't make it at a margin to make money and to sustain the business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So would it be accurate to say that the tariffs in recent years essentially caused you to completely change your business?
Yeah, we had to.
Okay. So
it would have been unsustainable.
Yeah. So now it's in the tech space.
So I'm actually doing consulting for small businesses, but specifically veteran startups. Right?
Okay.
So I'm also involved with Bunker Labs as well as Patriot Bootcamp. And whenever there is a small startup, small businesses that are trying to get their business started, I become their fractional COO pretty much. Okay. And set up their back offices, develop strategy for customer discovery, and make sure that the product that they're coming up is going to be a fit for the market. And
so you're an alumna of the Patriot Bootcamp. When was the first time you went through it, and what motivated you to even apply?
I had a friend who went through it. He was in the medical device sector. And he said, look, I know you're getting ready to pivot, but why don't you go through it? Why don't you apply and see what happens? And honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I was fortunate to accept it and went through it. And the PBC has been an amazing group of women and men that run it, and they're totally focused on veteran success. We meet once a week for lunch and learn, and we have some great speakers. Yeah, if you have any questions, you ask and you usually get answered within 24 hours. And now that's really exciting that DAV is involved too.
Oh yeah, well we're happy to be a part of it. This is the first year that DAV is helping being a presenting sponsor for the event. And it's the first year that I actually have touch with this. And you're like I think you're the fourth or fifth person I have interviewed from Patriot Bootcamp, and everyone just talks about how great the extensive network actually is. That's really one of the draws. It's not just amazing. A 2 or 3 days seminar. It's you're really not buying into a network, but you're really becoming part of an extended network of military veteran and milspouse entrepreneurs. What year did you go through Patriot Bootcamp again?
Earlier this year.
Okay, so it was in 2020, and that was an in-person one.
Right.
And what city was that in?
San Francisco.
And so did you go through it knowing you were pivoting, or were you in the middle of a pivot, or were you still making the head device?
I went through it with an idea that I may have to pivot.
Okay.
And then going through the workshop, I realized that the idea was great. I had the market, but I would not be able to manufacture a device in a way that I could sustain the business. And
so is that why you chose to enroll again?
Once you're in public Patriot Bootcamp, you're pretty much in it for life. It's like almost sign up for a service. Like I said, the network is amazing, but it's I see more as a family. And I know it's kind of cheesy.
No, yeah,
but,
definitely not.
Jen, Sherry, Danny, Barb, they're all amazing. I mean, you could ask any of them any questions, I'll answer. And not only that, here's the answer, and here's someone you could get in touch with.
How has Patriot Bootcamp substantively changed or helped your business in the past? And what do you expect this year?
Since I've connected with Patriot Bootcamp, it really built a confidence in my what I'm offering to the world. It gave me a personal confidence that my idea is correct, but also gave me some tools through speaking engagements that they offer, their lunch and learn, where they have speakers, networking. It really kind of been transformative for me to know how to run a business, how to make sure the finance is correct, do my marketing, make my own capability statement, which I hadn't thought about before, and then how to present it, how to pitch it to investors.
Yeah.
I've already been getting a lot of traction after pivoting. So I already have a contract in place with UC San Diego to teach another edition of a customer discovery development workshop in April.
Okay. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So it sounds like you'd recommend this program to other would-be entrepreneurs in the military, veteran, or milspouse space. Yeah. Okay.
Because, a lot of time, I'm sure you also know that a lot of our, former colleagues will say, hey, I got this idea, I'm going to run with it. But before they go spend the money, it's really important that they, kind of get the basic tools in place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the accelerators out there, that's out there, there's a lot of them out there, they're kind of like, giving you an empty promise. Whereas Paratrooper Bootcamp actually gives you tools that, that you could use to build your, toolbox to make yourself a business success.
Absolutely. What would you recommend to anyone thinking about stepping into that space?
I would say make sure your idea fits the market. So interview lots of people, at least 50 initially, outside your family and friends, and get involved with a organization like Patriot Bootcamp that could get your confidence up and also give you tools to succeed.
Is there anything else you think it's important for me to add? Something I didn't ask that you would want to make sure it makes it in there?
There are a lot of disabled veterans out there that may be thinking, okay, I cannot go into, I may not be able to go into the regular business sector. This is a great opportunity for disabled veterans to start their own business. Start having your own business allows you to run your own schedule. You're your own boss. Right, and
hard to beat that.
Each of us veterans, particularly in this sector, disabled veterans, they have the tools every tool that they need to run a business. They've already gotten it from the military service. So take advantage of it and go do it.
Absolutely. I think that's something, the military, as you said, definitely gives you all the tools in the toolbox. They teach you, how to plan, how to execute, how to focus a mission, how to drive success, how to reach an objective or a goal. And I think, military, the people that I know that are successful in business now, they kind of got these skill sets almost in a passive way, right? It was all about the mission and building a cohesive team. But the military doesn't teach you how to bring a product to market or how to actually do the day-to-day. How to write a business plan, right? All these stuff, and I think where Patriot Bootcamp it kind of fills that void, and it kind of just not fluffs up, but it kind of sharpens the tools they already have and gives them an entirely new skill set and advice on how to live their dreams.
That's exactly the best way to put it. Patriot Bootcamp sharpens your tools that you already have in your toolbox. You may not know that you already had it in you to run it.
Yeah.
And also, having been in the military, you already have tons of people you could reach out to and say, hey, I have this idea. What do you think? And you already got one, you already ahead of the game from a student at university on your way to customer discovery.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. Have a great day.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
The event just ended. How was it overall?
The event was one of the best I've attended, and I've attended many virtual conferences and accelerator of this type. And I think DAV and Patriot Bootcamp knocked it out of the ballpark.
Was anything lost in the all-virtual format compared to what you went to before?
It's hard to say what was exactly lost because so many effort was put into the virtual as affects the on-site. The on-site, what you have is more of a one-on-one interaction. and the ability to, for example, we had Expo for the virtual. It would have been great to have met the DAV representative or representative from the supporters in person, just to thank them for supporting the event. Having said that, the virtual event was wonderful. I mean, Dan Clare was from DAV, was there, and I think, was it Jim? One of the director of executive, Jeff does. He was there, and they had amazing remarks on Jen, Trey from PCB. Each person that contributed to making sure this event was superior to anything that they've ever done. It was very evident.
That's great. What are some takeaways you'll bring back to your business from this Patriot Boot Camp?
It's okay to ask for help. You're obviously, we're both military entrepreneurs, so we have a tendency to try to gut it out, ask little help as possible and just get the job done. But what the DAV and PCB has taught me during this virtual event was that not only is it okay to help by asking the question yourself, you may be asking a question that your fellow entrepreneur may not be asking. So and the answer that's given to me was maybe have been may have prompted them to ask more questions that pertain to them. So I think it just it's like a ripple effect, right? Oh, it's okay for Rachel to ask, I'll ask too. So that was kind of cool.
Were you able to make any new connections?
I can't go into details, but
sure.
I made two major connections that I'll be following up with my mentors in next month or so.
Wow, that's great.
I hope it's going to benefit the sponsors, all the sponsors, and give entrepreneurs some traction.
Tell me a little bit about one of these one-on-one mentor sessions. It seems like a really cool opportunity that a lot of people in the business world would die for.
It was on a platform called Hopit.
Okay, yeah.
It was my first time using it.
Mine too.
And basically, they match you to a mentor, and I had two amazing mentors. Trevor Sorensen from Oddball, who's one of the great guy, PCB supporter, and also becoming a major tour de force in the defense contracting world. And the other one was Dave Grosh, who's the BP for Techstar.
Oh wow!
Innovation, and it was a totally random matching, and it was interesting because I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool to talk to one of these guys, and then they popped up. And I froze. I was in shock that I got matched with people I wanted to talk to. But it was really great. There was no gaming. It was just to be able to talk to people of that caliber. It was just really something that I couldn't have asked for.
Yeah, no, I remember Jen Pilcher, the CEO of Patriot Boot Camp, when she was. I was there lurking in the background watching the event, and she compared the one-on-one mentorship to almost like speed dating, where you kind of just get matched up randomly. A screen pops up in the Zoom or Hopin, whichever platform you're using, and you go from there. So I think that's something that is. I think if you were in person, to be a little different, you have to be a little more structured. This one's is a little more free flow for sure. Rachel, thanks again for your time. Sounds like you had a great time, and I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rachel.
Take care.
That sounds like a great virtual event, and one that I'm sure was very impactful for many in the community here. Speaking of virtual events, virtual job fairs, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, definitely taking a big step forward here, and especially with DAV and its job program, employment program here. And Tom Jenkins, DAV's own, caught up with DAV's National Employment Director, Jeff Hall, to specifically talk about how these things are going, the assistance out there for COVID-19 in terms of getting jobs, and even DAV's own unemployment emergency relief fund. There's still some opportunities out there for disabled connected veterans who have been impacted with their employment during the pandemic. And Jeff had to talk about all that and much more when he caught up with Tom.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Jenkins from DAV headquarters. I'm here today with Jeff Hall, National Employment Director. We have a few things we want to talk about today. Let's just start off by talking about what DAV's National Employment Office is doing during this unprecedented time.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's nice to join you today. So to go along with the weird and crazy year that it's been all the way around, the National Employment Program, our office, our staff, we haven't really missed a beat throughout the whole process, which means really we've been hosting our virtual career fairs, which was a quick pivot. Earlier this year, back in March, we had a full schedule of 140 career fairs beginning in January, but we had to do a quick pivot back in March, and we converted all of those to virtual career fairs with our partner Recruit Military. They've been going nonstop. Usually 2 or 3 of those go per week, whether it's a city or base specific event or a regional or national event. We've had them, with a couple hundred people attending all the way up to a couple thousand people attending. So those are going really well. People can register for those at www.jobs.dav.org. And we encourage veterans or spouses who are out there still looking, be encouraged. Companies have been hiring throughout the process. And we want you to come to the career fair. And don't worry, if it's your first time navigating a virtual career fair, there's pre-event seminars. We can help you along the way, but definitely check that out.
How has DAV been working with our nation's veterans to provide relief to those who are been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, so again, back at that time, mid-March, April, I think it was in April, we launched our DAV COVID Unemployment Relief Program. That's been going very strong since. And of course, just like anything, we had a lot of people apply for it right up front. We were trying to get the message out in a variety of ways to let people know that if they're a service disabled veteran and they have lost their job or furloughed due to the COVID-19 virus, that we can provide a monetary grant to help you through these trying times. That's still going on. To date, I think, as of this morning, we have basically assisted more than almost 8,000 veterans who have applied for that, with almost right under $2 million has been provided in that relief. So that's still available. And if you're one of those individuals that has a service-related disability and you've lost your employment due to the COVID-19 pandemic, please check out the unemployment relief grant at dav.org.
And I think that's what we're trying to do: spread the word, spread the message with these messages. Thanks, Jeff. Have a great day.
We're very, very proud to have been able to offer unemployment relief to so many veterans. Applied for emergency relief and were granted. So we're very, very happy to have been able to help some of those veterans out in their time of need. But, we know that right now there's still a lot of people that are struggling with unemployment and with significant downturns in their businesses, to include veterans and disabled veterans. I recently spoke with DAV Assistant Legislative Director Jeremy Villanueva about the outlook for veteran business owners moving into the future.
What do you think is the outlook for service-disabled veterans in the long run right now with everything we've seen with COVID? Right? We haven't really seen those unemployment numbers yet, but if I understand right, that they typically track higher for service-connected disabled veterans than for veterans who don't have disabilities, right?
Usually, while we can track what veterans' unemployment number is, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases that number every month, and we can track that and follow that. And we have definitely seen, especially unsurprisingly, during this coronavirus pandemic, that the veteran numbers have definitely, taken a hit. During these, reporting times up to before that, we had seen definite growth in the lowering of the veteran unemployment numbers. However, when it comes to service disabled veteran unemployment, those numbers only come out once a year, and that's in March. So we still have a few months left before we can even see what this has done to the service disabled veteran numbers. But we have every, expectation that they're also going to take a significant hit.
There's a lot of businesses we know that have gone under because of the COVID pandemic, and some of the local regulations still forcing closures. What do you think is going to be needed in the future for those veteran-owned small businesses to rebound going forward?
What are we going to have to do for many of these small businesses to rebound once, this coronavirus pandemic goes into the rearview, and we start thinking about what is the new normal, right? And I think we really need to start looking at, the places that we patronize, where, we as an American citizens and also fellow service-disabled veterans spend our hard-earned money. And I think one of the things that we need to look at is what we would call, veteran-owned small businesses and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses that are out there. And not only that, but those businesses that employ service-disabled veterans and veterans. I know DAV and our employment department, goes out of their way every year, and we give awards to, certain companies, certain entities that hire and employ, service-disabled veterans and veterans.
Is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to throw in there that I may have forgotten to touch on or ask?
Highly recommend everybody out there sign up for the Commanders Action Network at davcan.org, and really, stay on the lookout for the alerts that we send out, because it is their voices that really help move these issues along and hopefully get more of these bills passed, so that there are, benefits for the future generation of veterans, so that we don't have to be in this kind of situation again without some sort of recourse for those veterans who have served their country.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
It's my pleasure.
Once again, if you want to learn more about some of our virtual job fairs and other opportunities, jobs.dav.org, the place to go there. dav.org/COVID if you want to learn more about our unemployment relief fund and how you can get help potentially with that. And Ashley, another episode here in the books. And I always say there's so many good topics out there for veterans. We have plenty of them still. We've already talked about. People can access at dav.org/podcast. But one of the more important topics veterans are facing in today's climate, veteran suicide. And then we're going to get into that a little bit deeper in episode 14.
Yeah, suicide prevention, of course, always top of mind when we're talking about veterans. And one thing that is sort of making an appearance in conversations now more and more, which I think is really important, is the idea of lethal means safety, which is, this concept of putting time and space in between the idea of harming oneself and the actual action. I think it's really important that we harness that ability, that we're making this community push. And we'll talk about how some of these specific community efforts and training initiatives are making a difference in reducing the number of veteran suicides. And I think one of the other things that we are going to start to dig into in the new year is more about burn pits and toxic exposures. We know there's some significant legislation that we're looking to make movements on, and it's just an incredibly pressing topic that we need to make sure that we're doing all we can to help these veterans get the benefits and healthcare that they need.
So be sure to keep up with the podcast. You can do so. Subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you listen, dav.org/podcast. You'll want to follow us on social media too. Go ahead and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the YouTube channel, and be sure to stick around for more podcasts ahead. So for Ashley Burns and all of us here at DAV, I'm Dan Claskins. We'll see you next time right here on the DAV Podcast.